Hello, and I do believe that we're live. Hello, hello, hello. And are you with us there?
Yes.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay.
Happy Saturday evening, everybody. If it's East Coast, well, happy Sunday, late night, early morning. Yeah, just one of these random shows, I guess. I just kind of got a little bit, I don't know, back into like working and doing random bits and pieces. What have you been up to there, Gematria?
Working, like working like mainly like all day.
Yeah. You kind of roboted out there for the first part of your sentence there.
Oh, just mainly working.
Yeah.
Like haven't had a lot of time to do much
Right on. Right on.
outside of that lately. It's been not super busy, but like being a manager, I got to be there most of the time.
Right. Just deleting some windows here. It's been one of those crazy, I don't know, almost speechless years, hasn't it?
Doing a podcast. Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. No worries, man.
What'd you say?
No, I said it's been one of those kind of interesting years, almost speechless to say the least. It's been kind of crazy.
Definitely.
I mean,
Yeah, it's been like I'm just like tripping that I'm like in Vegas now.
yeah, and how's that going? It's got to be interesting, especially this, like during this kind of a time in the history of the world.
It's just bizarre, and it's because I'm like separated from the rest of my people, that I like am used to being around,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just for a job, and being here for that job, I have to be a character, so like play a role while I'm working,
Yeah,
and
that's got to be
it's so
interesting,
weird.
Like, because
Yeah, it's
people aren't
bizarre.
even getting to know you for really you most of the time.
Not at all.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
even if they socially get to know you, you're still kind of putting on the show a bit.
yeah, you're right. Like
Because
even when I'm
yeah,
like not like working, I'm still kind of working. Like
yeah,
when I'm on break or something like that. As long as I'm like at the the place, you know. But if I'm like if I leave the place, then I'll like be myself generally. Like I go to like some other location
right, right.
or
I
something like that.
I did make a few promises here. I promised to invite a few people over to the link. This is playing. If you're not aware, and I don't know how you're listening to this otherwise, but I'm on Twitch as well as YouTube, and I'm just gonna fire off a couple of links so some people can find us. But
Okay.
yeah, like I said, it's been one of those really, really strange times. Um, like I found myself falling into a kind of like an internalizing kind of a prison almost. It,
Yeah, I hear that.
it's like it's like I so want nothing to do with so many people that I end up getting exactly what I bargained for.
Right.
But and then you end up kind of backpedaling and like okay, what you keep having to recheck the same lanes over and over. It's like what the hell? Why haven't I made a lane change yet?
Right.
But I'm also using this time and opportunity to roll up a spliffy here. But let's go check out EPGN Media over on Twitch. Just gonna pull that up so I can copy and paste that over to Discord. If it would do anything. There we go.
But yeah, it's been an interesting time. I like met people and things like that, and I've been invited to stuff and went to interesting places,
Yeah.
experienced trippy stuff like the Halloween time. I went to that like four of those or three of those like haunted house type of places
Right.
in like a row. So like it was like called it like haunted house hopping, you know, and it was progressively each one got progressively scarier.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like the first one was like more of like some college put on, you know. The second one like was like like a whole full on performance, like being in like
Well, there
two
you go.
buildings, and the third one was like
Gotcha.
a full on performance that actually doesn't just happen during Halloween. It happens year round, different times, and it's called the Freaking Bros Horror Show, and that one actually scared me,
Oh no kidding.
you know. And I'm not like, you know, person that gets scared by these things.
No.
Like the second one, it was scary, and I could see how other people would get scared by it, but you know, it didn't really faze me.
Right. Right.
The third one that scared me to the level where I was laughing.
Well.
Hey,
Well.
I was laughing to keep myself from freaking crying because it was freaking me out because it was like, okay, you first sign a waiver. There's three of the how there's three separate places for one thing when you go there, and there's lines. And when you finally get to the end of the line, of one of these buildings, well, actually, you sign a waiver when you come into the place, but there's a separate waiver you sign for this specific building.
Right.
And when you go in this one, and it's called 666,
Well, that's
right?
charming.
It's all, yeah, so it's already like, okay, you know, like all of these buildings were satanic. Like they were referencing satanic stuff. They literally had like these symbols like that only Satanists would know, or like researchers like us would know. You know, so it was quite interesting, and I was like, what is going on here? And I was like, I realized that this place was literally funded for and by Satanists
Well, that's
to scare the hell out of people.
well, that's the scary.
And
That's a scary thing that's underwritten that nobody knows, right? That not too many people are aware
it's
of. Yeah.
very interesting, you know. Like,
Uh,
so I was like, okay, you know, and they took their job seriously. Like all of the people, the actors that were doing their roles or whatever, like playing their characters, which were really no characters. It's like if you look, if you like pan back and like look at these people, like you didn't only got a certain amount of time with them, but like, you know, if you like really focused on their storyline get up, like it had a story to it, and it was like they created that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
yeah.
like they
Yeah.
were one that you've heard from different horror movies and stuff like that. It was like they took from the horror movies and made these creatures.
Right on. I'm not saying right on to you. I'm saying right on. I just popped
No,
up the YouTube chat here, so now I got the YouTube chat on the screen there that I'm sharing. Uh,
something freaking. Anyway, so yeah, the one that 666 one, that was apparently the most scary out of the three, right? But
mm,
like we went to that one first, and and you know, like you'd sit in line, you'd be in line for like a while, right? So like you'd communicate with the people that you're around, and in doing so, we ended up like bonding with the people that we were next to, and
mm,
they ended up going in with us
right.
as like, so it ended up being, yeah, it was weird. And so we I think I they put me like first, and and I and as soon as you go in, there was like a what is it called, a guy like big burly type of dude, like out of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, you know, like
Oh,
saying,
really?
uh, yeah, get in there. And I'm like, where? And he goes, we're here. And you're like, choose one. And I'm like, choose one. I like look at like three like areas, and there's like literally, it's just like there's nowhere to go. It's like go inside and just stand. And I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
okay.
Huh.
So I like go in,
Shit.
and I'm like already like, okay, what the hell did I just sign up for? And so I like go in, and the door, the other people like get in their little slots or whatever, and then the whole thing slides, the wall slides,
Oh, yeah.
and now I'm like stuck in this like box kind of thing, like wood, that's like just literally there's no way out. Like, I'm like kind of turning around like a couple of times and just realizing, okay, like, am I in like one of those trap places? What is happening? Like I didn't realize like that's what I was at.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't like labeled as like a trap type of scenario you get yourself out of type of thing. So I have no idea what was happening, and like obviously it's like horror movies came to
Yeah,
mind,
yeah, yeah.
and what came to mind first was um the house that October built. Have you
Oh,
seen that one?
sorry about that. Sorry about the sound there. I'm just playing back the stream on YouTube there in the background just to make sure it's successful. So go ahead. My bad. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
Oh, I was asking you, have you seen the house that October built?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should check that one out. That's like about people that are looking for extreme haunts, and then they find one called the Blue Skulls.
Oh, yeah.
They're in New Orleans of all places,
Huh.
and
Interesting.
and they end up finding these people during like a New Orleans parade.
Right.
They
Right.
kind of track them down in the sense they get stalked by them, and it ensues, and they end up on an extreme hunt, and which is more like getting kidnapped and tortured and buried alive.
All right. now,
But yeah,
now
so
we're
I'm like,
talking my language. That's scary as fuck.
yeah. So then I'm like, okay, well, I uh, I wanna you know try these types of things out, but not like an extreme hunt. Although like I didn't realize that kind of thing was what I was entering into, was kind of like an extreme hunt, but not like that.
Oh, right.
That's like more of a Hollywood version of that. Like taking it to the next level
Right.
and making
Right.
it into a horror movie. Yeah, but I'm saying like this is more of like playwright type of people, like having their storylines
Okay.
like in little sections. So like you go in, and you like enter into like a weird like world you didn't realize what was in this house or this building, and then all of a sudden it's like they change each environment, and you're like in each room, and you don't know the way out because there's no door.
Right. Right.
So is what happens is finally they end up opening that door from the other side,
Yeah,
but there wasn't there.
because the expectation to be able to get out at least is on the other side of that door.
Right. So
Yeah.
like after going into like the cubbyhole thing, and just like being in there for a certain amount of time, there was you didn't know if they were going to open another door or something like that, and we can talk to each other from each side. So we were like saying, "Are you guys okay?" Like
Right.
But then it started getting loud. Like there was like a speaker that got turned up really loud, and we couldn't hear each other anymore. And all we heard is this someone yelling into a speaker, like saying, you're gonna die, you're an idiot for like signing up to this." Like they were like basically psychologically fucking with you. And and then uh, and then it became like almost like this weird like chant. And it revolved around itself, right? And it echoed,
Right.
and
Right.
then it was sounded like a broken speaker, like a speaker that is like already blue, so it was
Right.
like rattling too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, then they finally opened the wall and let us out, and then we ended up getting like essentially there was another person that was on the other side that was like also dressed up scarily and had like a weapon and kind of pointed, like, and then go that way. So we were like, just like, don't go up to those people. And then
Yeah.
they started following us just to make sure that we weren't just diddle doddling. But I mean, it was creepy that they followed behind you.
Right.
You didn't get that from the other places
There was
that I went over.
it was the Week of the Dead there in Mexico, and I went downtown in Puebla there, near the cathedral and the big town square and everything. And it was the new town square, or sorry, the old town square is just right around the corner. And they did this little kind of tour thing, and they put on like a little performance and what have you. But it was funny because by the end of it, yeah, you kind of lost grips with the fact that it was a tour like celebrating the Week of the Dead, you know what I mean? And you were kind of
Yeah.
taken out of it. And as soon as they took you out of it, some guy like he had like half his torso missing with a pump action shotgun and just comes out blasting fucking blanks. It just scares the living shit out of everybody. And it was brutal. It was so cool though.
Oh my god, that's fucked.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's like
Yeah.
similar situation that
Yeah.
happened, like where we're like put inside of a cage
Yeah.
by like an army guy, and
Right.
then like another like kind of guys like are like behind that person, and then he goes, "All right, ready, aim," and we're like, "What?" Like we're inside of this cage, like just stuck, and then all these people are looking like they're gonna shoot us. And then after they say fire, instead of us getting like shot or whatever, the lights like go crazy, and there's like a big bang, and then the floor drops. Freaked us the fuck out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like because the floor drops like I
You
don't
were,
know,
you,
like a
were, you,
foot.
were, you were counting on that change of dynamics like that.
Right, and then the other side opens and lets you out. So it was just like, okay, so like the other side of the cage that you're in. It's so like strategically like set up. Like every room leads you to another thing. So like the first one, after going through that, you end up like with this woman that like it's like she killed her baby, and she like also like cut herself a bunch of times.
It's funny how many dead
And
baby stories there are.
and
Like,
she has like her, and she's kind of like attractive, so you're like confused. It's like, and it's a and she's like half naked, so you're like, okay, like this woman's talking to me, she's like all bloody, she's like attractive, and she's talking, and she's like really convinced that she killed her baby, and she wants to show you that as if it's with like an art piece, right?
right.
And she's like talking about it as if it almost in a sadistic way, like it was something that she did for something else or something like that. I didn't really listen deeply into the storyline because it was creeping me out. Uh, and there was like a dead person in the shower, but in the bath was the baby or whatever, like area. And we were in like some sort of bathroom area kind of place, right? So of someone's house. Yeah, that's what it looked like. And then she eventually finished her like, her lines or whatever, and then showed me the door because I was first,
Right.
and then she like opened the little curtain thing to let me go through, and then I like started to go through, and then she closed the curtain thing on me.
Oh, wow.
And then so I looked at her, and then she opened the curtain thing again, and then so I go through, and she closes the curtain thing on me. And she did that like a couple of times until I like looked her in the eye. And then I started like putting my hand through, and then she eventually just opened it up and then pushed me through.
Oh, shit.
And she pushed the other people through, and then we ended up in another bathroom kind of room that had this guy, looked like he was just kind of like a hunter or something,
Right.
and he had his back turned to us, and it was like we were in like a male bathroom, like that was all like graffitied up and all that, and he was at the urinal, right? And
Okay.
at this point they switched. They wanted to go ahead. There was like a discussion right before we went around the wall, and who was going to go first and stuff. And I was already going first at the early stages, so they wanted to go ahead of me. So I just fucking go ahead, you know. So then I ended up in the back at this point, and they went ahead of me. These are the people that we went in with, that we were talking to in the line, and they and then we like the dude there. We like ended up against like the wall because we didn't know where to go. We were just like,
Yeah.
okay, we're in this room now. Like, where the fuck's the out? You know. And then the guy turns around and he has his dick out and he starts like going up and down with it on all of the people, and as if he was pissing on us, right? And and we were all just worried about getting it on the ground because it was like on the floor. We were like trying not to step on it. And then the guy
turns
like
out it really was
oh,
his dick.
and he was just like came up and like pissed on me. And I was wearing like it was Halloween, right? So I was wearing like Adam from Beetlejuice costume.
Right.
So like the flannel,
Right. Right.
shirt thing. And so that got kind of like all up in that, and then he like said like some weird like line, and then which was creepy, like almost like he was gonna kidnap us or do something to us or rape us or something. It was very just disturbing, the thing, whatever he said, and I was just like, I'm not gonna remember what the hell you just said, sir, you know. And so I just like went through the wall, the area, and then we ended up in like a chain link fence, what's that called, like maze, right? and,
A labyrinth,
and not
like
just
a labyrinth or something.
something. It was like it was chain link, but it was like you had to go. It was like the level sideways style, like so you'd go through. It was kind of like those hallway of mirrors type of thing, but instead of mirrors, it was a fence. And so you'd go and walk into the fence and then go away from the fence, but then you'd find that the fences were actually like shocked or whatever. They were like electrocuted.
Oh yeah,
And the
yeah, yeah.
person that was doing this apparently was like behind like a cage, like a fenced cage or whatever. And then he started like saying like a bunch of lines about how he was going to get us and stuff. And then he started like going like rubbing something along the edge, and it was like sparking.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and so like I put that together, and every time he would touch the thing, basically it shocked us, not us, but like if we touched the fence, it would. If we were holding on to the fence, it would shock us.
Right.
So then I was thinking, oh, okay, he's behind that cage, like like we'll be fine. And then he lets all of us go past him, and then he comes out of the cage, like like there was no lock. I was like, what? And then it gets all scary because then he's all coming at us from the back, and we're just being forced to get pushed into the maze, right? And I mean, it's not like a real maze because it's not like you go the wrong direction. You know what I mean? It's like it basically forces you to kind of go like, like that. And and when you get to certain parts of it, there's like these chains that are coming down, these heavy chains that are going down to a certain level, and they're shaking. And when you touch them, they electrocute you, so you get shocked. It was fucked. And it's like,
Oh, so you go to grab you go to grab on them for like some kind of support even, and it just gives you a little jolt. That's mean.
And yeah, and then you go and then you fall against the actual fence, and then the fence gives you a jolt too. You're like, fuck, and you're trying to just not get shocked. You realize you just got pissed on, so like the water that is in there is actually accentuating the shock.
Yeah, that's why he did it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Weird,
then
weird
it's all
choice. Weird choice of costume design, though. That's strange.
it's very shocking. I mean, like I said, these people are a bunch of Satanists.
Right.
So then
Duly noted.
yeah, and then well at the like for instance at the end like when just before you get lit out like going through like certain another area after you go through like go down into a deep hole that's like kind of like just dark and you have to crawl and then somebody squirts you with water again and that's because at the end you end up with this woman that's like barely wearing any clothes. She's all like got like uh, a pentagram upside down like on her chest and she's
Great.
like kind of like wearing all these chains and then she's explaining that you have to do something before she lets you out or something like that and she's like telling us something and at the same time as she's telling us this she's like rubbing her face or her finger like on our face and on our bodies and it's shocking us.
Wow.
It is really trippy. Yeah, so like that was quite like a memorable experience and then there was like other versions of that you'd end up going to. There's like a Dracula one and like a witch one, and like we call like a Coven 13 or something like that.
Right.
Coven
right.
of 13, one of those, and then the other one was like Dracula's Castle or something like that. Dracula's Mansion, I think it was.
No
So
kidding.
so no, it was Vampire Mansion, I think it was called.
Oh no
Yeah,
shit.
and so the witch one that was bizarre because like I'm just thinking, oh, this like how are they gonna top that? Like after after going through all this shock and then we end up after going into this room and sitting on these chairs, the chairs lock us in.
Like they were actual
And I'm like,
vaginas. They just
they fucking like locked us in from the like arms and the legs, and we were literally
just
stuck.
like just like a
could not get
vagina.
out. And we had to listen to this woman in front of us, like
Oh, that's what I thought. That's what I thought was coming. The vagina's got
go
you.
off about things, like, and she's like a witch or something, and then the left person, the next to me, disappears after the lights go out.
Haven't seen
And
those chairs since the 1990s music videos.
and then the chair's laid out, and then the woman tells us that our friend is like in there somewhere, and we have to go find him. And we kind
Before
of
we
hear him
eat,
like
before we eat them.
hear him like in the wall somewhere, and you're like, what the fuck? And yeah, so then we were like trying to go through areas and like, oh, it was crazy. And he when we finally found him, which was crazy because it was like a wall, uh, that like when it finally opened, he was all like prepared to fight. And we were like prepared to fight. It was like we were gonna get each other, like
You
like
just start knocking each other out.
and we almost like slammed each other. It was crazy. And he was like, "Whoa, oh, you guys!" And we were like, What happened? Like, how did I end up here?" And we were like, "We were asking you the same thing." He goes, "I don't know. I was sitting on that chair, and it was like it was like went backwards and just like let me go, and nobody said anything. I was just like all of a sudden in this dark room."
That's
Like,
hilarious.
fine. Yeah, it was crazy. And that's just like the highlights. There was little other areas and things that I don't obviously remember everything. But there was some weird shit. There was like a room that I was in that I was just like tripping on because it was like I felt like I was all of a sudden in like a swamp. And yet I was like, my mind is telling me, no, you're inside of a building.
Right.
But they made the environment into a full-on swamp inside this room
Wow.
that was a little bit big. And then you had to go through it, and then it was like walking on seaweed or something. It was just not I mean like mush. It was very weird.
Yeah.
There was all these. Yeah, they really had a good sense of like changing the environment and your sense of knowing where you were. There was no way at all to know in that house where the fuck you were. Like I couldn't like figure out the design
Well, yeah,
because of where you.
completely redid the design. Obviously, they probably changed it every year too. Uh, do
One
you
of the rooms was
do you
like a
remember a
complete
place called
clown room.
Crystal Beach?
Yeah,
It was
yeah, that
down
sounds
by New
familiar.
York. It was down by New York in New York State.
I mean, I've never been there or anything,
Yeah.
but
Uh,
I've heard of it.
it's just outside of Buffalo, I think, or in Buffalo, one of the two. But it's right off of Lake Erie there. Anyway, I used to go there as a kid, and they had a pretty decent haunted house that was all year round, and yeah, it was a pretty good
Oh,
one.
that's cool.
But they always changed it up though, like from week to week. Like they had a lot of different tricks up their sleeve. Everything was modular, so they could move things around and build different kind of
Right,
traps
right.
and funnels and trap doors and all kinds of cool shit. Pneumatics everywhere, so like something would blast
Nice.
air and like just scare the living shit out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I was originally going to go to that Saw escape room thing, which I
Mm.
think is like 6 rooms, really.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they interplay like people. So like they have people play against each other, like to get
yeah,
out of the room.
yeah.
And so I, after like going through that and seeing how real that was,
Kind of like group
how they were,
survival, like that kind of thing.
yeah, something like that, or
Yeah, there's an early
like
form of that.
competition.
Yeah, there was an early form of it
I mean,
anyway. Before it became a
you've seen
thing. Yeah. Yeah, before it became a thing anyway. I remember they had a similar form of that. It was like you had a group that would go through, you know, and try and figure your way out. But it wasn't like
Right.
it wasn't like those escape rooms that they have now.
No, I'm talking. Yeah, exactly. And it's like the escape rooms they
Yeah.
have are generally like those don't appeal to me.
Mm.
Although like horror genre escape room does appeal to me.
Yeah.
Although not, seeing how real it can get
It would have to be like
kind of
something like
freaks me
Saw.
out.
Have to be like Saw, but like simulated, of course. No real deaths.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Is like how real do they get with these traps
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
are and since pit people against each other in that sense, and they have multiple rooms. It reminds me of
You know that would be really cool with VR. I think that would be a really cool experiment
oh,
to
I'm
try
sure
with
they
VR.
have that
Yeah,
already. I'm sure they have that already.
but
Like because they have already escape
yeah,
rooms in VR, but like there's ultimate escape rooms, that
yeah.
you pay a pretty penny for in VR, and those are generally multiple rooms.
They got
Like
those skin suits that you can actually they give you sensations like almost like touch. It's almost as good as touch because you can actually feel like as if something's pressing against you, that kind of thing. They got these weird suits.
yeah, they
They stretch.
perceive that
Yeah.
in that
They s-
Ready Player One movie
yeah.
and
They
book.
stretch and pull as well. Like you know what I mean. Oh, excuse me.
Although that was fantasy, but I'm saying like in
Yeah.
the same sense, the idea of having a suit that's
Yeah.
modded to be effect of
There's still
the
thousands
VR
of
experience.
dollars. Like there's still prototype and experimental, right? But there's still thousands of dollars. But
The
yeah,
fact that they're even getting there though is
yeah,
like pretty phenomenal
it's
because
pretty
that's
yeah,
how
it's
where it's
achievable.
gonna
You know what I
where
mean?
it's gonna head.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Like
and then once they actually get to the level of it becoming like more of a commonality thing, then
yeah,
it's
like
gonna
flat
be
screen
like
TVs, like LCD screens and shit. Like everything's an LCD
yeah,
screen nowadays. Like it's just so cheap.
exactly. Everything's a screen. I mean, it's funny because there's the whole Black Mirror thing, right? And
Right.
I don't mean the show. I mean what a Black Mirror is, which is like a witchcraft
Right.
object. It's
Oh,
like an object
yeah.
that witch not necessarily witches, but like people that are performing those types of magic craft,
Yeah.
or even
Well,
divining
hey,
or that type of thing. They
techn
would use a Black Mirror, right?
technology to a less primitive group is considered to be magic.
Right. So now we have essentially black mirrors. That's what
Yeah.
phones are, and the screens.
Yeah.
They have, there's still information that
Yeah.
pops actually through them and whatnot, but we're perceiving it through them. So it's a similar kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
weird
it borrows from the
techno
folklore. Yeah. It borrows from it.
retro
Yeah.
spiritual thing.
Yeah, it borrows from the folklore, but it also takes the magic. It dispels the folklore as well. Like it gives it a technological kind of a meaning, if that makes any sense. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but I'm saying, like, in a way, it's still magic.
yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying. But what I'm saying is it dispels the magical essence of it once you understand its technical, reasons for working or whatever. When you understand its fundamentals, it takes the magic out of it a little bit, but it still is magic. I get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah, definitely. I mean, same with like sigils. Like when you know that the sigil is a sigil, it takes the magic away from the sigil or the experience of it affecting you
Yeah, yeah,
as a spell.
that's right. Yeah. Well, again, it goes kind of into the quantum realms. I mean, let's kind of like tangent ourselves a bit here, but it kind of goes into the quantum realms, like because like anything observed or thought about ends up being quantumly affected, and then of course if there's entanglement involved, then it's going to affect its entangled counterparts. It's a pretty interesting philosophy that maybe that kind of effect can be achievable through human concentration or thought, or they say that monks, like groups of monks in these areas that where hundreds of them pray at the same time, they produce an energy field that's a readable, quantum effect. Like it's something that they literally can read. So I think there's something to it. I don't know how much it is, how much of it's really just within the realms of folklore, but there's a grain of truth to all the legends, as they say. It's funny how a lot of this involves the pineal gland, yet there's no focus on it now, but apparently it was a very big thing in days since, and all religions across the world somehow seem to have some kind of at least acknowledgement of it, if not actually use it in symbology. So I don't know. Who's to say, right?
There's also the pituitary.
Well, the pituitary is an interesting one in itself, but it definitely, that has more to do with fertility and well, and multiplication of the species kind of thing. But again, yeah, because wasn't Aphrodite that was representative of the pituitary and some other organs?
It's the part right here, because the pineal is in the middle of the brain.
Yeah. Well,
or am I backwards? There's a pineal there, and then the pituitary is in the middle of the brain. I don't know. I might be backwards.
The pituitary just brings on the adolescence into man or womanhood, right? So it just tells the body to get prepared for breeding. The pineal is
the one right up here that's like in the front is like the third eye.
The third eye is a pineal gland. Yeah, that's the one, and it kind of looks like a.
Then the pituitary must be the one in the middle of the head.
It's like an inside-out eye.
It looks like a brain cone.
Yeah. It's it's just like an eye, but it's kind of closed off, like it's shielded internally, like it produces like photons and internally, apparently, but it's got the rod.
Right. So then the pituitary is the one that they are symbolizing with the
the pine cone is pineal gland.
Pine cone.
The pine cone is pineal gland. Yeah, that's a pineal gland. That's the third eye. Pituitary.
The thing in the pituitary actually looks like a pine cone.
No, it doesn't.
It's like, yeah, it has this like formulation that's very.
Well, maybe they both do.
Upside down, like kind of.
Yeah,
the pineal, what you're saying is the part, the third eye. It's like a little area in the skin, like behind the skin, in front of the bones.
No, it's not. It's behind the bones. It's in the head, like it's in the brain. The pineal.
Okay, so I'm talking about that's the pituitary then. That we're mixing things
They're
up.
both in the
The
brain.
pineal.
Hang on. Let's look this up. We could sit here and jabber on all day about it. Uh,
True. Mm.
as far as I'm aware, they're both inside the brain, firmly located. All right, here.
Well, I learned about it originally from like yoga, and then I like researched it because of the whole um, secret projects that the governments do with like that project Looking Glass,
Right.
a special ops program, and they were
See,
symbolizing
both of them are in
the
inside the
process
brain. Look, I don't know if you
of
can.
what happens to our dopamine when
Yeah.
when we go to sleep and we actually dream, and our dopamine goes to the brain. It releases from the pituitary or whatever the thing
Yeah.
in the middle of the brain,
Do you see this?
and
They're both in the middle of the brain, though. Is what I'm trying to tell you. The pineal gland is in the back, like in the back above the brainstem, above the cerebellum.
so
And
then it's a different gland that
and yeah,
I'm
and
talking about
the pituitary.
here.
They are two different glands. The pituitary gland is still in the brain, but it's in the forward part of the brain, like forward below the cerebrum there, or below the
Basically,
cerebellum.
where where your technically third eye is supposed to be,
Well,
in between the eyes, but a
yeah,
little bit higher.
but the third eye doesn't represent the location of the gland. The third eye just represents because they just put it between the eyes because that's where you have two, but they just place it there. But it's about the right height though, and it's just further set back above the cerebellum there. But that's the one that is your mind's eye or your third eye. Like that's what they're referring to. That's what creates that effect. That's what produces the DMT and creates the effect of your third eye, your third, you know.
Well, there's also what you were talking about, like when there's something in whatever it is right here, you can activate by pushing against your two front teeth a little higher up, like in like the gums between your two front teeth, and then you relax your jaw, and you actually activate your whatever it is up here.
Well, the mandibles, they probably do something to, I don't know, something around those pons of the
Which is
cerebellum.
like a yoga technique
Yeah,
for relaxation.
yeah. Well, it probably works the jaw muscles that push some part of the side
While
of the
you're
brain
doing
up there.
something.
Yeah.
So like saying like you're doing
Yeah.
I don't know, so holding your arms up, right,
I
and your
don't know.
arms are starting to or
I
something
don't
like
know.
that.
I talk
If
a
you
lot.
start doing that,
I don't do
then,
it. I don't take yoga, but I talk a lot.
then
So
it kind of releases that. It kind of
right.
releases that stress or that tension.
Hmm.
Um, if you think about it when you're doing it, because otherwise you won't do it. But
Right.
like
We keeping you up?
when you do that, I don't know.
Jesus
I got
Christ.
I got some sleep today. So.
Yeah, sleep. I've finally been catching up on sleep. I haven't really been doing a whole lot lately. It's been kind of a crazy time. I decided we're going to be doing on the 18th of December. We are going to be doing a show that we're dedicating to the late Jeff C. To a commemorative to him and to his life. Anyway, so yeah, check us out there on the 18th. We're going to be doing it. That's a Saturday, probably. Be 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. So we'll probably joke around and enjoy some of the memories and stories about the guy. Anyway, make fun of him. He's not there to defend himself, so why not? Anyway, yes. Yeah, it was a bad year. Yeah, this year wasn't a great year, but at least I didn't lose as many people. Holy shit. Yeah. No, last year was a doozy.
I hope people are less connected now than before.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. So, well, no, a lot of people are getting. This year has been a strange year, and a lot of people that have been putting off surgeries and stuff. They're starting to go in and get them now, and it's just, I don't know. I think I think things are going to get a little stranger before they get better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely feel like they're turning up the heat, but that's just a me thing.
Well, let's talk about. I saw this movie called Replicas, and it had the idea that um, well, there was reasons for this happening, but like in reality, the idea that you can clone a person, obviously, and then take that person and transfer their consciousness. Now, in this movie, they had the consciousness already transferred
Yeah.
into like I don't know, bits and like
Yeah.
computer stuff,
I get
whatever. Like
I get what you're saying, and that's been like the source of so many movies in history, right? Like the ability to at least record or map the human mind, or at least record the experiences and play them back. Like Brainstorm is a good example from the '80s. A little more primitive in its idea, but it's still the same kind of concept, right? It's
yeah,
about
but the thing that bothered me about it was the person was like acting like the person that was cloned was the person that the clone was the actual person,
well,
and it's like
they just have the memory imprints of that
how do you,
memory. Yeah,
but
I,
they're still not the actual person. It's
no,
like
I know, I get that. Yeah,
but the person, so it's like almost like they just get over their grief and guilt or whatever it is
well,
from because in the storyline the person
yeah,
kills the other people on
yeah. Well,
accident
Dark
by
City handled it pretty
a
well.
car crash type of thing.
Yeah.
So
You remember Dark City? It handled it pretty well. Like it was more along. That's why it became such a hot commodity as almost like a drug, because people actually
yeah, but
did.
that was more
They,
harder to root in reality. This was closer to reality and more easier to see as a way around it because it wasn't like mainstream or
what
anything. It
Dark
was like
City?
a no. I'm talking about
Oh.
this replica story.
Oh, okay. No. I'm just talking about other movies that are like what what you said you saw. No. Sorry. It just
No, because
no, the
the
storyline
way
just
this
reminded me
plays
of those. That's
out,
all. Yeah.
the way this plays out, it's not. It wasn't supposed to go that
Oh,
direction. It just ended up going that direction.
is this
It
spoiler
was
alert?
supposed to be in a robot,
Oh, spoiler alert.
and robot didn't work, or whatever. Right? So, but
Are these spoilers?
well, they kind of no, not really.
Oh, okay.
But they kind of worked, but didn't. There was some problems. You'd have to like see what I'm talking about. I don't understand what I'm talking about completely.
Yeah, you can't
So,
explain
so
shit
not really
sometimes.
spoilers. Yeah, so I'm just giving little hints. Once you see it, then it'll come together.
Right.
But I wasn't happy about their explanation for certain stuff. So
Right.
just to be like, because in my understanding, like you're gonna make a clone, uh, and it's it doesn't have memories or whatever. You're transferring memories to that clone. It's like that's still not the same as being a person
Mm.
that has those memories. And you can't like treat it like it is.
Yeah. I like the
You know what I'm
idea.
saying?
Yeah, I like the
So
idea
I
of
was like,
generational like
so just thought.
degradation.
It was a good show. It was a good movie though.
Yeah.
I like the movie.
Yeah. I like the idea of
It's not
degradation too. Like if the more
great.
times you copy it, like the more times you copy, let's say, a memory, you get generational degradation.
Mhm.
I
Well, they kind of showed that on the sixth day.
yeah. Well, they did it a little bit too with The Apprentice. Was it The Apprentice or the no, the other one? Was it The Apprentice? I can't remember now. The one with what's his nuts? Says the magician there used to make himself disappear, but he just he kept duplicating
Uh,
himself instead. But he had to
yeah,
what the hell was
yeah, I
that?
know what you're talking about. That wasn't called the Prestigious.
The Prestige. Oh, the Prestige. Yeah, that's right.
Prestige. Yeah,
That's
Prestige.
right. Yeah, that's right. That was a creepy ass movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, because like it was basically duplicate. they weren't clones necessarily though. They were copies
The
because
teleportation
of the process.
technology. Yeah.
Yeah, the process of the teleportation. It wasn't teleporting. It was just creating a copy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it comes down to. And then they just kill off the copy. But
Yeah.
if you go back and repeat and you go back to the original, then you realize then none of those people were actually the original.
Right.
The original was dead like long ago.
Yeah. It was just like
When the first experiment happened.
yeah.
That's
So
when the
which
first one died.
which duplicate of him was like, the one that caught on and said, "Okay, you know what? Fuck this shit."
Exactly. Which takes away the idea of the consciousness thing. Like
Well,
you don't have to
it kind of does a little bit.
with that because that way the person's just a complete copy because he is the same person. He is the person because he's transported, not literally teleported, but not literally teleported. It's more like duplicated.
Yeah, and it could very well be it could be quantumly entangled, like with his
It's
other.
not really the same as a clone though because a clone has to
Yeah.
be grown. You might have a belly button. The whole So to me, it's like the Prestige shows the way around cloning.
Well, if it was quantum, let's just say for example, in the case of like, or in the context of like my story there that I am writing, yeah, let's say it is quantum, then technically it is the same guy who's had the exact same life. He's just from an exact parallel dimension or a parallel universe where everything happened exactly the same way up to that moment, and plucked him out of there, that 3-dimensional space and plopped them here. You know what I mean? And essentially it's him, but you can easily, but you easily,
universes.
yeah, but you kill the other one. you know,
No, it's a mind fuck.
it is, because then you could also flip it around in the other direction. It's like, okay, it's the other way around.
And the Apprentice, that was with the Houdini.
Yes, that's
and,
right.
and that was the whole getting out of the jail without knowing that he was doing it because he was an escape artist.
Yeah, I knew they were both magician
And
related.
basically, double in jail.
Right.
So the person in jail was never him, but you didn't know that until the very end.
Oh, let's see. Conspiracy. Cool. Has anyone actually confirmed that Jeff C. actually passed on? We've had whatever confirmation we've had. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard anything contrary or otherwise. I've seen obituaries for the particular person. For his real name, and I'm satisfied unless somebody has proof otherwise. Sure, I'll look at it. I'm not. It's not like I'm not open to ideas. So, yeah, I'd love for him to still be alive. That'd be great. What do you think?
The whole conspiracy thing, but that's because I was already like following the gematria stuff, so I understood that when he was doing the 33s and showing the different not emojis, the cutouts he does and puts them together or whatever, that was just his comedy.
Yeah, I mean, he had definitely had a twisted sense of humor. I mean, most of the fun times were when we were ripping something, or when I took something that he loved and I ripped on it. Like when we did the Walking Dead shows, it was a show I loved to hate, and he was starting to come around. He was starting to hate it too. It was a fun time during the show because it was really bad. It was awful. And I loved hating the show, so it was great to talk with him about it because I knew he still loved it, and so did a lot of the people that watched the show. So, it was good. I miss
And then
those
the
times.
whole connection with Fauci and Jaws was like just genius.
Yeah. I kind of I kind of got out of the scene for a while. Stopped watching a lot of stuff. I don't know. I kind of just
Oh well, basically he took the word Fauci apparently means jaw
okay.
in I don't know, Italian or something. And so if you take the idea of what Jaws represents, the movie of something's in the water, stay out of the water, right? So close down the beaches.
I also think of James Bond. Was it? Which one was that? The
Yeah, the Mr. Jaws or the
yeah,
Jaws. Well, his name was Jaws too, right? It was
just Jaws. Yeah,
Yeah, it was Jaws,
he was badass.
and he was played by like the same guy that did or Lurch, right?
I no, was it that guy? He was in it a
I
few.
don't know.
He was in it a few
I'm
times.
guessing.
He came. He was one of the
Probably
first.
not.
He was one of the first
I'm not
repeat.
a big James Bond fan.
He was
So.
one. Yeah, he was one of the first repeat. Repeat henchmen. Yeah, he was always somebody's henchman though, for sure.
But he did have sharks, right?
No, he just had the teeth, the jaws. He just had the gold
Well,
jaws.
how did he take out his prisoners or whatever?
I don't know, bite the.
Because usually that's how. In my understanding of James Bond, there's always like a time frame.
Well, somebody would have
like,
sharks for sure, but he was just the one who had the
No.
jaws. That's why he got the name.
Oh, okay.
He would chew your fingers
That
off.
one's Goldfinger, right? So it's probably Goldfinger had sharks.
Maybe. Probably have sharks and that guy. That guy probably came with the sharks. Like it's a deal, you know. When you go buy your henchman, you know, you get the Shark Tank and you get this Jaws guy.
Well, there was also two.
Yeah. Be a Black Friday deal.
So yeah, I don't know. So I thought that was a pretty good parallel
Interesting. Yeah. Man, that's interesting.
because that's what happened. They did close down the beaches.
Oh, Moonraker. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I wasn't even paying attention there. Yeah, Jeffrey Cleveland obituary. I do believe that was it. Yeah. Shows together were pretty good. Thank you there, Conspiracy Occult Illuminati and NWO Media Review. Moonraker, she says. Yeah, he was in Moonraker. Richard Spy Who Loved Me. I was thinking it was that one. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want it to be wrong, but I thought it was that one. And Moonraker for sure. Yeah.
Was he the top villain or was he like the secondary dude?
Oh, he was always one of the henchmen. He was never a top guy, the Jaws guy.
Yeah, see, that's where I was getting confused with
And
that.
and Richard Kyle, I think that is Lurch. I think that is the same guy who plays Lurch.
That's what I thought. I don't know. You said I was wrong, so.
No, I wasn't sure if it was. I wasn't sure.
You're wrong.
It was triggering a memory of a documentary I seen of that guy, and I'm trying to think, and I think you might have been right. And then I just saw the name, and I think that was the name of the guy. So, because I was like, okay, so yeah, you were right. So I'm no. I didn't think it was at first, but yeah, he was a repeat. Yeah, he ended up dying. He passed away. That's why I don't think he appeared in any more of them because he was always he always came back. He always got away. Unless he got killed in one of them, I'm not sure. He might have got killed in I don't know, or apparently killed. You know those off-camera deaths.
So I've been watching the new Chucky.
Oh, the new Chucky. There's a new Chucky? Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a series, not a movie.
Really?
It's on like Peacock?
Yeah.
Or Amazon.
I can't say I hate the idea, but I just don't know how you could carry a series with something like that. It's more of a funny joke, you know what I mean? But to build a commentary on it.
It's definitely that, and they seem to be using the original character style type of thing. So like as if the person is still in the doll.
Yeah. If it was the exact same character, like they weren't.
And almost like Dexter style, helping out whoever he's with.
I was gonna say,
But like to
like
kill other people, you know.
there's a way, yeah, there's a way
Helping
that they
kill
could
others.
pull it off. I mean, look, Evil Dead did it, and the series was awesome.
But it seems like the characters in the story that are around the doll all think that he's a robot.
Well,
But
didn't it?
obviously he doesn't. He
Did,
doesn't. When other than the kid that he's like that owns him,
mhm,
he doesn't. He doesn't reveal. You know his outside. You know,
right.
hi, I'm Chucky. You want to play? You know, blah blah blah. But like, but when he's by himself with the kid, he comes out. He does the whole like eyebrow thing and the yeah kid. You know, like he gets into that voice that you remember from the first two movies.
Yeah.
Although I feel like the third movie and further than that, they were carried by different people
Yeah.
and that weren't involved in the first two,
Yeah.
and so kind of changed storyline and stuff like that. It sounds like this one is more like trying to keep true to the original
I think
thing,
though.
but like adding on to whatever's going on now, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Because he's like at a yard sale. So and if you remember the second one, he like melted in the factory, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if
But there's a million of them
so
made technically.
if this is if this is yeah if this is exactly if this is a process, that means he jumped bodies or
Yeah,
he
he did.
got out of that one that was melting.
He did a quantum jump to another body, exactly, just like what we were talking
Mhm.
about.
And then that one ended up
Great
in a yard sale.
segue. That was good. No, but I was gonna say though, no, I forgot what I was gonna say now. Shit, I lost it. That was too funny.
So Foundation, you need to watch that. I told you about that last time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't really watched too much. I watched Squid Game, and
Oh yeah.
that was pretty crazy. That was crazy balls crazy. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was an interesting story. It was well shot. It was very, very visual. It was very, very amazingly shot. Like it was pretty brilliantly done. Like I have to say, cinematography wise, fucking absolutely beautiful.
I know. I almost feel like that one was actually worth the hype because
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
I don't usually because I don't like hype in the first place, but after seeing it and then experiencing it, it's like kind of like a ride. You know?
I was prepared to hate it.
With like
There's-
despair.
Yeah, there was things I didn't like about it. I'm going to be honest with you. There were certain style choices I kind of didn't really. I thought were kind of played out, but considering where like it was made, like where it came from, I thought it was really, really brilliantly executed. You know, well, the choice of when to use English as opposed to like I watched both versions. I watched it with the subtitles,
Yeah, I watched it with
and I also watched the dub too.
yeah, I just watched the dub.
But
Usually that happens though. If you watch the dub with the subtitles, you'll find that there's things that don't match.
yeah,
They'll add words here and there, and like take kind of like whole sentences and like make them.
and it kind of takes a little bit away from the performance when they sound sillier than they look, or you know what I mean. Like when there's sometimes there's a lot more passion in a scene when you actually when you hear their breathing and there's and their emotion along with what they're saying, they kind of get more of how they're emoting, and you don't really need to know what the like you don't need to know the language to understand the emotion that they're getting, or that they're presenting, or usually most of the time.
Yeah, you get that a lot with anime because there's like the American version of anime doesn't sound the same as when you do it with like subtitles and then you listen to the actual like
sounds like soap opera
how people are
ADR.
reacting. You know what I mean? Like these types of things aren't
God
there,
damn
and the things all you hear instead is like, oh, and it's like
Yeah.
almost like almost like they take the negative and make it positive for the American style, like because there's a lot of negative that doesn't transfer with the words and the way that the
Oh,
person's talking, because a lot of times it's like almost too Americanized. Like
yeah.
the person isn't a great actor, you know, and so they like the line doesn't come out like like with the motion
Yeah.
in the same way,
Well, the
and so
history,
like when you
yeah, the history of anime was basically like more of the adult themes. I guess they weren't allowed to produce videos with some of the subject matter, so they did it all with the animated styles. And most of them were adult. Look at Ted Turner Broadcasting. Wasn't it him that brought like everything from like Voltron to
probably
Gundam Wing and all that? They Gundam Wing. What was that?
yeah.
That became Robotech, I believe. It was
Robo-
Gundam Wing and
no,
a couple
no,
others.
Robotech was Macross Plus.
Macross, that's right, that's right. Gundam Wing was another one, but holy crap, there was a whole
And
wave.
Wings,
Yeah,
what they call mech.
yeah. There was a lot of
That's where
that.
they got mech. Yeah, the mech stuff transferred into
Yeah. Well, actually,
American.
that birthed into the Transformers, which was the only Americanized, like truly successful. That and the GoBots. The GoBots were
Yeah, but
transcendent.
mech and Transformers is different because the mechs have people inside.
That's right. That's right. These were just fully autonomous. That's right. But
Yeah.
they kind of won that foothold in the
But
market with Transformers.
Macross Plus though, Macross Plus had
Yeah,
people
yeah.
inside.
That was near and dear, close to the hearts of many in Japan that weren't able to get licenses for the designs for those models that became Transformers. And there was a couple that kind of managed it. Wasn't it like Starscream? Like one of the versions of the Transformer was actually from Macross or something,
Yeah,
and they couldn't fully
definitely.
use it. Like,
Yeah, there was I remember having like getting that toy in like
yeah.
secondhand back in the day,
Like
where it had like
you get the Macross
legs,
one, think yeah, and it doesn't go into a
basically
robot
legs. No, it was like legs coming out
plane. Yeah,
of a jet fighter
yeah.
kind of
It
thing.
had a plane for a head.
Yeah, it had a plane for a head, totally. Fucking
uh,
crazy.
yeah, it was
I
still
remember
it
that.
looked badass, but you just wanted to go transform in that next stage, right? Where it's just a robot. It was kind of cool, but it's not there. But yeah, that apparently that was the thing. I guess you can get that 3D printed now. I guess the 3D
Probably,
printers,
I mean,
yeah,
most things.
yeah, no, you could actually get it the way that you imagined it as a child, that toy, but going all the way into a fully transformable Macross
Yeah,
character.
you'd have to just probably do it in pieces and
Oh
put
no,
it together.
someone's done it. Someone's done it, and they have. You can actually. I watched a video. Somebody's actually got the designs. You can download them, 3D print them, and put it together. And yeah, it's pretty badass. The times that we live in. Too bad it's being used for some pretty shitty things out there. But
I know it's like we could be living in a whole different world that would like turn things the other direction
yeah,
if I don't know if like society allowed it.
I don't know. We live in a
It's like
very
weird.
negative kind of a world in a way
We're kind
because
of in a dystopia.
well they're
I would
yeah,
say.
but they're
I don't think we
feeding.
were in one before COVID, but
Well, I
we
think
were
that brought it
leading
on.
towards that.
I think by design it's brought it on, and it's brought on a dystopic kind of attitude. And all the sheep are just jumping through hoops. They're just woohoo, yay, another hoop, yay, jumping
Yeah,
through.
but then if it comes to mind, those all those dystopias that we've seen in the in like sci-fi world,
Yeah.
are they all like pre-planned, like staged, like set up to be that way, or did they just end up that way because of like circumstances?
I think it's what people imagine hell being like, and it's like, well, we've managed to get there. Now, was there a creative consciousness? Like, did we do this collectively, like with a collective creativity and manifest this reality? did we bring it upon ourselves by getting too complacent and not taking actions where they should have been taken?
Well, I thought I was gonna be like doing the whole riding the light wave thing with the Pleiadians and all that, so that didn't ever happen.
Oh, that's
It's like, and maybe there is that
and
happening,
the
and
Kool Aid
I just didn't get to go.
and the Kool Aid sucked, right?
Yeah, that was supposed to. Well, it's supposed to be like, if you were in the light band, then your reality would separate from
Oh God,
essentially the reality we are in.
that sounds like a pile of
And
horse shit.
that sounds a lot like Mandela shit, though. Now that I think about it,
Mandela, salmonella, whatever.
but yeah, that came from some book stuff. Like I read books, and they were saying that bit.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was like they were like those kind of books that people write when they don't like claim that they wrote it. They claim that they were, I don't know, possessed by a person and that person wrote it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I call it drugs, but hey, that's just me.
you could. It could be also schizophrenia. You know,
Schizophrenia, yeah,
this
that's
person
another
was
big one.
supposedly supposed to, a writer, and also had, you know, whatever, went to had some academia behind her. So
Yeah.
her
Well,
claim that she's also taking, claiming to be other people and writing books.
a
It's
lot
like,
of people are on drugs. Like they're on, they're either on antidepressants or they're on like
hey,
lithium or
how do I know that that didn't actually happen and I just didn't
yeah.
wasn't part of it?
I mean, almost everyone's
Maybe,
doped up somehow. I mean,
but it feels to me
I just smoked a
that
joint.
almost like that was a warning to let us
Yeah.
know that it was coming.
Yeah, I just smoked a joint. So I mean, like everyone's pretty much high on something, mostly. But essentially, these days, a lot of people I think are trying to break up the monotony, and do different shit within the confines of what they're able to nowadays. Whether it's blurred out on fucking Twitter or fucking be a total pain in the ass some other way, but. I don't know. It is definitely a depressing and dystopic time. I'm definitely feeling it. I'm kind of been going through a thing myself and trying to keep my head above fucking water here. But
Well, they're saying like February is going to be the time that this is going to like kind of supersede or come to a head or whatever.
well,
And if you look at that on the Chinese calendar, that's going to be the year of the tiger. That's like
Yeah.
when it starts. So it's quite interesting because they were like symbolizing the year of the tiger over and over again with throughout the past couple of years with the since the coronavirus really.
that's
And
my
before that,
that's my animal sign there. Yeah, I'm year of the tiger.
like the Tiger King.
Yeah.
There was like the Tigers won from like something like they haven't won in like however long.
It's supposed to
There's
be my
always,
year.
like-
Good. It's supposed to be my year.
So there's all these associations like
Good.
with tiger symbolism,
Well, we need a W.
possibly letting I don't know the powers that be or whatever know that that's when this is over, or maybe that's when they come out and do their whole this is the new golden age dance. I don't know.
Well,
Right.
I'm a year of the Tigeronian, so
So I've been watching for it. I mean, now all of a sudden the Tiger King is back, and it's another, everybody whoever loved the Tiger King the first time, now they're back going, another hype thing. I didn't believe it the first time. I'm not going to believe it this time.
right.
It's like whatever. In my opinion, it's a complete staged show that's set up to look like it's not a show. It's like whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No, I think you're onto something there for sure. I mean, the whole thing is very, very clever deception in so many ways. I mean, and they're not even hiding it. I mean, you watch the news, you look at what's going on, and like through the eyes of like a stranger, like that's never watched like CNN. I mean, you would be just under your table, like it would be like, what the fuck, like. If you wrapping a towel around your fucking face, yeah, it would be overwhelming. It would be like, what's going on?
I feel like it is like that for me whenever I do actually watch the news, because I don't really watch it.
If I walked into a bank,
yeah, exactly.
2 years ago, 2 years ago, if I walked into a bank with a mask on, they'd be tripping a silent alarm or fucking alerting the security guard. Like they'd think I was in a nut bar if I came in wearing a mask. Like, what the fuck is this guy in here doing? It would be one of those like, oh yeah, I was just trying to be careful. Like, you're crazy. We thought you were gonna rob us, but now it's like been normalized to the point where, I mean, oh god, it's brutal, and it's so pointless. At the end of the day, like all of it
doesn't really do anything.
No, it's so bizarre. It's just bizarre that we live in these times and nobody stands up and says, you know what, I'm sick of this shit. Like, that's enough.
Oh my god, I counted, right? I counted, like, we're on Omicron.
Right.
That's 15 fucking variants, man.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, it's also the name of the planet-eating transformer.
I am literally watching a movie right now called Safer at Home that basically took place probably during, actually it probably was made during the pandemic time.
Yeah.
But it takes that whole idea of there's like 3 variants. Right. I mean, they didn't call it variants. They just call it COVID.
It was Unicron, the planet-eating transformer from the animated movie. The animated movie from the 80s. It was Unicron, not Omicron. Oh, shit. I thought it was it's Unicron. That was the planet-eating transformer.
Omicron's the Greek alphabet. Oh.
No, it's talking about the transformer from the animated movie from the 1980s.
That has a bunch of symbolism stuff, too. But I'm saying
that it was Unicron. His name was Unicron. I thought it was Omicron, but it was Unicron. I got it wrong.
Not.
I know. It's Unicron. Unicron.
Yeah, So it's like a Zoom kind of movie, where people are talking to each other. But the setup at the beginning, even before they actually say, what the movie is, it's like watching a news and like a fake representation of like real news, and it's saying about, like, it starts out with all the real stuff, like, or supposed real stuff that we've really dealt with, and then it just continues to go from that all the way to 2022 and like January 13th or whatever, right? And then further than that, and so kind of like predicting the future, if you will. But I'm just saying they only went 3, like, to 2022. They only went 3 variants.
Mm.
We literally in real life have gotten to 15.
Mm.
What is that saying? I mean, apparently they were showing us that we were going to continue this with their media or what entertainment, whatever. And I'm seeing that representation, or I was, like, before you called. Oh shit, my phone's gonna die. Hold on.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, there. In there. Boost. No. That's what channel. Go away. Okay. So, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
It's been one of those. It's just been.
I'm just saying.
it's been a taxing few weeks, and I've been trying to work on this damn commercial forever. I've changed it 15 times. I've been supposed to do these podcasts every weekend. I just haven't been up to it, and I don't know what I'm not. I don't know why I'm not doing it. Just wanted to be straight up with everybody. I just haven't had the energy, but I don't know. It's got to come to an end. I gotta start doing it because I'm also trying to promote a business here too, and I'm not doing a very good job of that either. And I'm gonna go broke and put myself out of home soon. So, yeah, a lot of things have to happen. It's got to happen soon. So, but
Cool.
yeah, got to do it and push forward, right?
Yeah. All we can do.
Well, I mean, again, this whole like you said, like this whole dystopic thing. I mean, it is defeatable, but I mean, there are a lot of people are very, very. I guess they shut down, like they're shut off from external principles and ideologies. Like they're kind of like just kind of hunkering down and keeping to themselves. And well, it's just the time. I guess it's just the time of the ages, right? But that can be changed, I think, and it just takes a bit of inspiration and people to actually want to do stuff, you know. But
Yeah.
I guess I got to start with myself and lead from the front here. I can't be talking about it and not fucking do anything. So, but I digress. Yeah, man. Yeah. On that note, I mean, we're gonna keep this as a short podcast, but you know what? I will be back next Saturday as well, and each Saturday, therefore, after we'll be starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and that'll be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the 18th, we'll be doing a tribute to Jeff C. And if you have any memories or any fun stories that you wanted to talk about or have us talk about, send them my way, and we'll make sure we talk about that stuff. This has been a laid-back show, kind of a quiet one, a late special, but also just kind of trying to get back into the spirit of all this. And on that note, what do you got to say there? Anything particular there, Gematria?
Not really. Just, people just being kind to each other. Try not to get all angry with each other, because that just feeds the struggle, and you end up basically more depressed in the end instead of at a positive state, which can lead you to more of positive realities, in my opinion.
Well said. Well, there you have it. All I got to say is, well, from the edge of the apocalypse, this is Robert J. Morris and Gematria Database. Do you want to tell people where to find you?
Gematria Database on YouTube, and on Gematria_Database on Instagram.
Right on. And I believe you can find them on BeerTube as well, but I got to pay my my Amazon bill for that S3 data storage. Anyway, guys, that's it for today, and we'll be back soon enough with another podcast. Might be doing the Daily Neuterinos starting on Monday, and we'll see how I feel about that. But until then, I'm signing out, and this has been EPGN Radio, online, offline.